I know on occasion we say that Democrats are panicking around here, but we really mean it this time. It's not looking good for Democrats. Republicans are set to hold the Senate, albeit a very thin majority, 51-49, after some major collapses and resetting of the map. Red Michigan, man, that just looks really sharp right there. And Ohio, it'd be really nice to go back and take over some of these southern states. These should not be Democrat senators right here. Obviously, the Senate races were stolen in Georgia. And that is actually exactly what's going on right now. There is a major move to reset the table, especially in the South, with redistricting in favor of Republican districts, and what you could call those are just fair districts drawn based on the populations and geography of a district instead of on the melanin in your skin. How many black people do you have in your district? Do you know we were drawing congressional districts based on that question? It seems kind of antithetical to the 14th Amendment and the Bill of Rights and everything that libs said that they loved over the last couple of years and decades since the civil rights movement. No, we're going to just create congressional ghettos and DEI districts, which is what they had done. And the Supreme Court smacked them down on that. And so now their redistricting wars are heating up, and it is getting spicy. California was able to sneak across the finish line, a very unpopular +5 for Democrats. But North Carolina has +1, Ohio +1, Florida +4, and Texas +5. So Republicans are absolutely winning right now. Virginia tried to eke by another 4 seats for Democrats in a state that is like 50-50. I mean, they just had a very popular Republican governor. That's getting smacked down inside of the Virginia Supreme Court. And people who are court monitors there, people who are arguing those cases, tell me that it is most likely not going to pass. In fact, the Virginia Supreme Court just signaled that you can't start drawing your congressional maps or even registering people for these new districts. We are going to probably smack this thing down in a wild ruling. We'll see what happens throughout the rest of the month. Missouri added 1. That's getting appealed. Utah is a really good fight right now, and that's looking devastating. Let's just go ahead and see here now. After the Voting Rights Act Section 2 repeal from the Supreme Court, or resetting of the tables, as it were, they didn't need to repeal anything. They literally just read racism into the Voter Rights Act, Democrats. Louisiana is set to add 2 seats. Alabama is set to potentially add 2 seats, and Tennessee 1 seat. Baby. So if the appeal maps passes, or if the appeal maps get struck down, this could be a Republican +11. And that's before the census, which is going to be devastating for Democrats. So even South Carolina is thinking about getting rid of James Clyburn, the guy who won it for Joe Biden. Going into South Carolina, they have this horribly gerrymandered congressional district there that gives Democrats a seat in a state that votes for Donald Trump by 40 points. This is how stupid this entire system was. You can't even argue that this is democracy. It's just open election rigging based on skin color. And they said it was wrong when white people did it, and it's also wrong when black people do it. So sucks to suck. Looks like the potential map could be a 7-0 for South Carolina, which is probably set to gain a seat or 2 in the census. So this is the governor calling for that reshuffle. It's going to be, things have gone south for Democrats quickly. And you can tell that the energy is sort of turning against them. You can tell that if President Trump sort of tightens down and buckles down and is able to focus on domestic policy again, that it could well be a very bad election. And some are calling for the DNC chairman. I know you don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. His name's Ken Martin. Guy is just exactly what a Democrat man looks like. Limp-wristed, lispy, wearing funny colored bracelets. Just an absolute goofball. Ken Martin. Tenure as chair of the DNC over the last year has been defined largely by frustration with his leadership. Frustration crested last week when Martin went on Pod Save America to defend himself against the charges that he backed out of his promise to release an after-action report in 2024 election. DNC members and strategists that I talked to after Martin's podcast appearance say that they believe his defensive comments further tarnished the party brand and deepened trust issues stemming from his decision to cancel the autopsy report. The concerns have been so pronounced in recent weeks that DNC members have privately discussed trying to force Martin out of a job. Not what you do if you think you're going to win in a landslide. The DNC is in trouble. Some people don't think that Ken Martin should remain on the job. DNC members are discussing how to drive him out. He's driving the DNC to irrelevance. This is not the behavior of a political party that currently thinks they're on a trajectory for a blowout victory in the elections. Yikes. The idea was put on hold. Members failed to identify alternative candidates who could step into the role. So they don't even know anybody who'd want to be in charge of the DNC. Guys, stop what you're doing and make the DNC chairman cry again. In the recording, an emotional Martin describes how being deeply frustrated by the fallout over David Hogg and how he was choking up. Martin paused twice while appearing to choke up. Perfect Democrat man physiognomy. Perfect. This is exactly the vibes that you would expect from a white DNC chairman. Zero T.
For autopsy would be different. Your exact quote was, "Of course it will be released." Why did you change your mind on that?
Well, look, I mean, what I said all along, even when I ran for this position, is that we were going to focus on the things that will help us win the upcoming election, right? Making sure that we learn the right lessons that could help inform our victories. And that's what we've done. We said this when we sent out the press release back in November saying we weren't going to release the report. We were going to actually keep our focus on those lessons. And we released those lessons. We continue to do that. So it's not completely accurate to say that we didn't release that. Where we're keeping our focus is on the lessons that can actually help us win.
On this show in August, you told me this about releasing the review, quote, "We have to do it."
So you lied. Dems in disarray. DNC insiders are reportedly looking to oust Ken Martin as chair over financial woes and disastrous interview where he made excuses for not releasing an autopsy. But nobody is willing to take over the role. Always happy to chat with fellow Democrats. At the end of the day, we all want Democrats to win. So they did this after action report, and apparently it was so bad they won't even release it to the public. And Kamala Harris. Ken Martin is just relentlessly unimpressive, off-putting, smarmy demeanor. Very HR correct. Not good. Not good. Democrat Party leadership won't examine why it lost in 2024 and isn't curious why a candidate is winning by 40 points in 2026. Yeah, not great. They're running a guy with a Nazi tattoo in Maine, so there's that. Meanwhile, in Florida, signed, sealed, and delivered, the Florida map just approved and signed by Ron DeSantis' office. It's official. DeSantis has signed the congressional maps in Florida, 4 extra seats for Republicans. This is what leadership actually looks like. This is why the DNC is scared. They are getting outflanked badly, and it's not just in Florida. It's in various other states. Again, Alabama. We bullied the Alabama governor into redistricting. And they're getting blocked in Virginia, man. This is fresh off the presses. Supreme Court will not be taking up this case. Time is against them. So, I don't know, man. I'm feeling optimistic. I'm a glass half full kind of guy. How do you feel? Let me know in the comment section. It's your boy, Benny. See ya.